Dude, this chapter was so hype. Like the rest of the chapters for the last couple weeks have been kind of subpar. They haven't been bad, but they haven't had really much going on. They're more of kind of like plot moving chapters. But this chapter, I was so hyped for. So let's talk about some things, shall we? So let's just talk about the cover page for a minute. It was pretty cool. We got to see Luffy and everybody in a club setting. Them Raven and everything pretty much was going on because if you guys already know, Queen is kind of doing that with everybody in the hall, and they're having their Koguri festival thing that's going on, the Fire Festival. So that's interesting. But let's get to the meat and the potatoes of the chapter. So first things first, we seen a number, but he doesn't look exactly like the numbers we seen in chapter 954 when they were first introduced. Now they look like big giant ogre monstrous things. But you know what? I'm kind of taking that with a grain of salt because if you guys notice, Oda kind of does this thing where he makes pirates and papers or anything like that, they are first seen as like monstrous demon-like beings. They're never actually seen as like regular people. The only time we see them as regular people is when the Straw Hats are introduced to them. Otherwise, they just seem very, very, very demonic. So that may be the same thing he was doing with this one. Because this dude looks like he's a Doflamingo knockoff. He has a Beatles haircut. He has the open jacket. Like, I don't... I never would have thought that he would have looked like that. But he has a club just like one of the numbers looked in chapter 954. And he also has the horns on his head. So that's probably the same guy, but he looks far more human. So that's very interesting. Then we got a bit of information from Killer. He says if you're able to hear the attacks that Apu sends your way, then you'll be able to dodge them. Which I'm not entirely sure how exactly you could do that. Is it like instincts? Because if I was going to say Luffy's future sight only comes up with it's like him seeing auras. And does sound have an aura? So I'm wondering what exactly Killer means by you'll be able to dodge them and evade them if you can hear them. I'm not entirely sure. That's a very interesting, dialogue right there. Then we see that Kinemon and his crew, well, his forces, they're splitting up and they're diverting. Some are going from one way, some are going to another way, but they're all going to the top of the skull, and it's like a pincer attack, and they're going to be right above like Kaido and what's his name? Orochi. I don't even know why I forgot his name. He's such an irrelevant character that I forgot. My bad. But anyway, in Orochi. But on their way to go get them, we see that the brothel is emptied out. And I love the kind of, they went back to, One Piece funny, like comedy, because we see that Sanji is going there. He's like, "Ooh, brothel, let me pull up in there. Let me real quick. Let me get a little quick sesh before we go to battle." And he goes in there and he comes out with the scariest face, and it's like, we find out what's in there, and they're thinking there's just nobody in there, but it's Big Mom who's in there. So does Sanji run in there and see Big Mom and then run out, and then Big Mom opens the window and she's like, "Yo, what is the Straw Hats doing here?" But we find out that they cleared out the brothel because they said the commotion that Luffy was making. But it makes me wonder, did Big Mom already know this information? Is that the reason? Or did she not know this information and she's there just by happen chance? Like coincidence. That's very interesting. But her and Chopperman meet again. And we also find out there's going to be a group that's going to go save Momonosuke. And it looks like so far it consists of Nami and Carrot. But we don't know exactly who else is part of that group. So I'm waiting to see what that's going to, what kind of fruit that's gonna, bear. I wonder who else is gonna be on that team. But then we go back to the waterfall. And remember last chapter when they were talking about a ship that was coming to go meet, Donk where on Ogineshima so they could start the party, and it was supposed to be one of Big Mom's ships and her kids. So I kind of think that puts in the pin of the theory that the kids that were at Whole Cake Island, like Katakuri and all the ones that got left behind, are going to be coming, because it doesn't necessarily look like it. It looks like the ship still hasn't got off the waterfall, and they're just coming now, and they've got word that can come up now, so that's the reason why they won't get attacked. So that's the reason why they're coming now, because they can go up the waterfall, and that's the only way they can necessarily get in safely. So that's another interesting thing that happened. But the best thing, we see Perorin, Perospero talking crap, talking about, hey, we gonna get King back for what he did, but we need to get up this waterfall. They get up the waterfall, and they thinking it's King because they see a flying object coming towards them, some bird-like thing. But it is my boy Marco. The Marco the Phoenix is back in action with his grandpa glasses, looking like a real old man. He looked like he's straight out of retirement. Like, this boy is Michael Jordan when he came back to play for the Bulls again. Like, he looks so, he doesn't look old, but them glasses they just make him look like, I'm a more relaxed, seasoned, and wiser man now. Like, that's what he looks like to me. Then we see Neko Momushi in the corner with that smile, yo. The boy is finally here. But it makes you wonder, how did he get Marco to come? Because we heard that Marco said that he didn't want to come because of Weevil. But we already know that the warlords got abolished. So if they got abolished, maybe they caught Weevil, or he's caught up. So now that he's caught up, Marco is actually able to come. Or maybe somebody else is guarding Whitebeard's treasure, his hometown, and so Marco was freed up to come. That's interesting. Then we see a lady in the corner, and one of the people watching live stream, so one of my subscribers actually came up with this idea when I was doing the live stream reading the chapter. He said maybe the person that we see down there, the girl, is actually IZO. And we were wondering where IZO was. We're like, why is he not here yet? This is Wano. After the war, why didn't he just come back with everybody and go back home, be another Red Scabber so we can have the full Red Scabbers? Why is he not back yet? Well, we already knew Nekomamushi was getting remnants of the Whitebeard Pirates. And if we see a woman with lipstick, who else do you think that would be, though? I mean, the only option I could think of, my boy IZO. Oh, man. This chapter is so hype. I can't wait to see the next one. I can't wait to see what's going on. But if you guys like the video, comment down below if you have anything you want to say. Tell me some of your theories. Tell me what you thought of that information, and who you think that person in the bottom corner of the last chapter is. And remember, anime, manga, gaming is all that. And I'm out, people. Peace.
For 30 minutes, don't touch that dial. Don't interrupt right now. Tell mama fall back, cause another all that coming up right now.